subconscious mind is memories, three-dimensional pictures and images of life that you create in the mind. Meaning that when you look out at a person, which I was making clear the other day, people do not realize that you've never really seen anybody. What do I mean by this? You've never really seen me. What you've done is taken a picture of me by way of light. It came into the iris, past the retina, to the octave nerve, and then sent nerve impulses to the brain. It stimulated memory centers for color, shape, form, and then like a laser light produced a three-dimensional image of me or a holographic picture of me that reflected outwards. You've never really seen me. You've never seen anybody. All you see is pictures of them in the mind. You know how the eyeball works, right? Yeah. So anything that goes into the subconscious mind is stored there. Meditation will not rid you of all the evils that are there. You must learn to use meditation for concentrating so that you can have the power to pull out the subconscious mind to discipline what you want. The same thing if you put your 5 fingers down on a table right now and I said, raise your thumb. Are you doing it?
Yes. Yes.
It's relatively simple. Raise your pinky. It's relatively simple. Raise your pointer finger. It's relatively simple. Raise the finger next to it, the middle finger. Now keep the hand flat and raise that last finger. That finger is very difficult to raise because it's not used as much as the other fingers, and therefore the muscles to the tendons are not as stimulated the same way. You follow that?
Yes.
Well, man has learned to move in his pinky, his index pointer finger, but not his ring finger. He activates his see, hear, taste, smell, and feel senses, but his sense of emotion is like a lion in the jungle running wild, his mind. He can think bad even when he wants to think good. He can flash into negative thoughts while he's trying to concentrate on positive things because he does not develop that pinky. However, if this person was going to set out to be a piano player and they need that pinky, they would sit down and they practice and they develop that pinky until they can move it the same way they move the thumb and the other fingers. You follow that? Because they need to use it. The mind is the same way. You got to learn to develop, to use the mind to focus concentration with an even flow of positive energy. Otherwise, it will run wild and control you. Things have to be clear. Things have to be not vague. They have to be very clear in your mind. Anything that you want to happen, you must see it clear in your mind and control the wild wanderings of the mind. This is the first steps of meditation. $7.51. 7:51. 7:51 and 9. See, the speakers are out. I mentioned it to the brothers who know to work on it tomorrow. 7:51 and 9. See, the speakers are out. And 7:30 and 5. I'm doing fine. Babe, shukran. Food store.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
When you say meditate, draw the picture, you talking about draw the picture in your mind like of a dream, man.
No, I don't.
What do you mean?
I'm going to explain it to you in detail so we'll know from henceforward, okay?
No.
You know how a laser beam works?
Not really.
No, well, I'll explain it. In order to produce a holographic image is a three-dimensional image that truly exists, a three-dimensional picture. We first need what's called a laser light. The laser light is pointed directly at what's called a beam splitter, which will split the beam. The flow of the light goes straight towards the object we're going to focus on, and the other beam that is split shoots off and reflects off a mirror. Alright? And then from that mirror is pointed at the same line on the other side of the object it was focused on, and meets it in midair before it hits the film plate it's going to be developed on. Right? And therewith creates a three-dimensional image instead of a one-dimensional flat picture. You see that? When you look at the brain and the way the eye works and the way the senses work, to get a hologramic picture of the brain, we have to use impulses from our senses, and they are beamed to the brain, and they begin to merge with our interference intellect, and they also, like a laser, produces a hologramic image. What do I mean? I mean, thoughts are passed through the body like light waves through the nerves, and they are centered towards the brain. They travel through the blood, which has oxygen in it. And inside the brain, there are billions and billions and billions of cavities of thoughts that are waiting to be stimulated. Once this light hits a certain point in the brain, it stimulates memories and brings back thoughts. You follow? So when I say to utilize the mind's eye for concentration, what I mean is anything that you want to come true, anything that you want to manifest positively or negatively, comes from total and complete control of concentration. Here, we'll take two subjects, for example, two types of character, which I affectionately refer to as the underachiever and the higher achiever. And I'm beginning to realize now, becoming a person who's very involved in studying human nature, that the world is made up of underachievers and higher achievers. The underachiever is easily identified because if you ask him to describe something, he does it one-dimensionally. A higher achiever, when asked to describe something, does it in over-exaggerated detail. He doesn't use vague expressions. If you ask him concerning an object, like a clock, he'll say, oh, a clock. Well, there's various different types of clocks. The type of clock I have in my mind is a wall clock. Oh, it's about 12 inches in diameter, which is a cross. And it has numbers that are standard American numbers running from 1 to 12. Counting while facing it, moves towards your right hand, around to your left and up. It has two arms on it. It's about 3 inches thick, has batteries in the back that activate certain wheels that make the, and he will explain it in detail until you can actually feel the clock and see the clock with him. Whereas the underachiever will just say, a clock. What kind of clock? Oh, just a regular clock on the wall. You follow that? The difference is the overachiever has the power to envision in the mind's eye a total three-dimensional image of anything he wants to come true. And here's the gift in that. Electrical impulses or electrical charges, right, send the waves of thought to the brain. Now, you cannot name anything on the planet Earth that is not composed of atoms and molecules or cells and organisms. And both atoms and cells are controlled by electricity and are formed by electricity and energy. You understand? Therefore, if you see anything, any picture of any object, the only thing you have of it in your mind is an electrical impulse image of it that's reflected back on the brain through light. You haven't seen the object. So therefore, anything that you think and put in full dimension is as real as anything that you're looking at. So if you see success and you can have a vivid, not a vague, but a very vivid, imaginable picture of what it should be like to be peaceful and happy, you see, and concentrate it and see it, hear it, taste it, smell it, and feel it. See the joy in people's eyes and the smile on their face, and a healthy salam and people in prayer. When I would speak to y'all about what I saw years ago as Jami Ansar Allah today, people call it prophecy. It wasn't prophecy. It was the power of the mind's eye, my ability to take my dreams and make them real. Because I sensed it, I smelt it, I felt it. I saw the dome, I saw the crescent, I saw it when it bent and it tilted. I saw the sign fall. I saw the yard open. I saw the gates expand, the blocks change, the people move out. I saw their faces as they moved. I felt the envy they had when we came in. I felt expansion. I felt everything. I knew at what point people in the mosque would start to fall out because they only served a certain part. I felt the whole thing. I saw just there, I got the blades of grass, the trees, the lake. I saw the houses standing there. Therefore, 10 years ago, I was able to say with a laugh, one day we're going to have this. Why? Because I envisioned it in my eye. And because the Almighty Allah Ta'ala, who is Khaliq, the Creator, resides in my and your bosom, because He said He put Himself into us, then the ability to create is also inside us. The ability to bring from nothing into existence something also resides inside us. So I knew then that anything I thought positive about and put in a three-dimensional image of color to see, hear, taste, smell, and feel will be reflected inside of my higher consciousness, which would be the presence of Allah Ta'ala in my bosom, and that it would come to pass. In other words, I believed in myself. I believed in my dreams. I believed in my people. And I believed in Rabbil Alameen. When I put all of those senses together, anything I think will come to pass. And if I can get my people to believe in themselves, and to believe in the innovations, and to believe in our success, we will succeed, not the one fold of one man's eye, but the multiple folds of the many eyes that look out at that one man many times. When they look at me and they say, he thought these things, and on thinking them they did become. If we think those things through him, what he makes clear, and we see by his way, by the way that he felt and thought and made, we can feel and think, and we can also make. So if there's one mosque because of one man, there be 100 mosques because of 100 men with the same vision. But we have to learn to focus on the mind's eye, concentration. We have to become conscious of the reality of the divinity inside us, and don't devour it, don't defile it. Don't bring it shame, don't dirty it. Be conscious of the present. I don't have any one friend. I have friends, and all humanity is my friend. Anybody with one friend is afraid to face the rest of the world. You understand that?
No.
I have everybody as my friend, and I see success in the man failure. Because in his failure there's success. Because from another man's failings, you learn how not to fail. I don't hold grudges. I don't want to revenge anybody. All I want to do is see the dream of today manifest tomorrow by putting my mind's eye to work. That's what I meant by the mind's eye. You have to have visual impulses that react on the nerve centers, and they stimulate things that become electrical images in the mind that are just as real as everything that's outside the body. So if you believe it, it will come to pass.
I believe it, I think.
I believe that we're going to make it.
I believe it.
I believe it.
I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. We believe. It's going to come true.
7:35.
Amen.
Yes.
Can we be touched? Amen.
Yes. You have to talk louder. I don't know if I have to have the intercom so people can call in. And if I put the intercom open, I won't know who's calling in. Say that down. Say that down. 7:17.
Now, Imam, I wanted to know, it was stated that a woman was able to nurse for 2 years. However, I was told that since Ramadan is coming up that I would have to stop nursing in order to fast. Is this so? Or is it possible that I may fast every other day?
You can read the Ramadan book, which is available. It tells you all of those things. I don't like to be asked things that you have to read, because it seems like a lazy rule. You know what I'm saying? I read the book, that way you have to read the whole book to find it. Then when sisters ask you, you can say, on page such and such in the Ramadan book, it says so-and-so. Okay? Because I can't say anything other than what's in the book, because I read it.
Okay.
Bookstore.
You know, if we knew anything about our past lives, would that, be a pro or con? Would that affect how we progress now? Or the next day?
Well, listen to it this way as far as that. Right? I live by the past, but for the future. Meaning, I love Ibrahim, but I won't let his mistakes I won't live by the same mistakes he made. Now, if we take from the past of our lives and bring it to the future, then there's no room for change. We cannot be Muslims. Because what we were in the past was definitely not Muslim. So if I try to bring out of my past and live it with my future, then I'm not a Muslim. I am a person of the past putting on the garb of a Muslim. That's where so many people go wrong. Because they are afraid to start off as a baby and establish a new way of life, and new ethics, and a new way of speech, and new everything. They have to reflect on what they were to impress the brothers. This is what I was in the street. This is what I used to do. This is what I used to live. This is what I used to have. And when they do that, unfortunately, they bring out of the subconscious mind not only the memories and the images and the pictures, but the personalities. And then their aura is engulfed in that negativeness. Now they are a Muslim with a subconscious mind of a Negro. You follow that? And everybody they talk, they spit poison upon. Every person they talk to about their past and what they were, where they danced, who they danced with, how many parties they went to, what kind of car they had, who they lived in, what school they went to, what university they attended. They're spitting poison on this person. They're like a scorpion. Okay?
Amen. Actually, what I really mean was, I'm talking about this past life before we came into this physical life. The past lives like thousands of years back.
Okay, the past lives do not influence this life. The past lives are the vehicles to take you to the next life. Okay? Now.